On this infectious episode of MythBusters, we blow the lid on those sensational viral videos.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Can you believe everything you see on the net?
It's scientific!
Like a sawdust cannon.
Say hello to my little friend!
Or a water-powered rocket car. Or even fainting goats.
We're gonna drop him with this one.
Who are the MythBusters? Adam Savage. And Jamie Heineman.
That's perfect. Hold it there.
Between them, more than 30 years of special effects experience.
Okay. Freedom!
Joining them, Grant Imahara,
You suck.
Tori Belleci,
Put your back into it.
and Carrie Byron.
High explosives and electricity. Woo!
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test.
What are you doing? We've got work to do.
I'm checking out some viral videos for our viral special.
Viral videos. What's that?
There's this invention out there called the internet, and the latest, biggest craze on it is people trading videos which go what is called viral, i.e. they have spread throughout the population like a virus because they're so shocking, so amazing, or so hilarious.
Okay, well, what's in it for us?
Well, are they real, or are they just camera editing or computer trickery?
Okay, that's something we can sink our teeth into.
That's what I thought.
I think I've got one.
Yeah?
Does 10 million hits count as a viral video?
I'll say. What do you got?
Well, it looks like we've got a bunch of fire hoses pointed down and they're lifting a car off the ground.
That is friggin' perfect for us.
It looks pretty convincing. What do you think?
No idea. Here, play it again.
You know, if this is real and we can actually pull this off, it's gonna be awesome.
I totally agree, but man, it could also be deadly.
It could also be a con job. That car might just be a plastic shell. But the only way to find out is to try it ourselves. That means building a platform, sweet-talking some firemen, and buying a full-weight has-been hatchback.
This is what it is to be a Mythbuster. You see this car behind me and you think, it's some classified ad piece of crap. I see a flying water jet car.
Adam's itching to squirt this wreck sky high, but Jamie wants to check under the hood.
This car weighs, according to the sticker, 3,175 pounds. Now that means that each of those hoses has to put out about 320 pounds of thrust. Personally, I don't think so.
Jamie decides to start small scale, and he's not afraid to delegate.
Okay, well, this is our car. I need you to make me a 1/6 scale version of this on the CNC. Can you do that?
Yes, we can do that, definitely.
Okay, off you go.
Okay.
The CNC mill is a computer-controlled milling machine that will take a laser-scanned image of a real car and generate a toolpath for its cutting tool that will carve out a miniature version of the car at any scale we like out of something like a fine-grained particle board.
Meantime, Adam knocks up a miniature 10-nozzle frame for the tiny car to sit on. The frame and the car fit together just like a piston in a cylinder.
Oh, it's perfect. Look at that.
This might be a small-scale test, but still, why mess up your own backyard? Jamie's picked out a fire training facility about 30 miles east of the city in Pleasanton.
Given that we're going to be harnessing hundreds or maybe even thousands of horsepower of diesel pump energy and putting that through hoses, this is kind of a dangerous situation that we don't really want to just dive into without preparation. And so we're going to build a scale model, see how well we can control it, see if we can learn anything about it before we start dealing with the big boys.
Okay, this bewildering mix of half-hosed, double-piped, triple-glued, multi-valves sure don't look small-scale. Thankfully, Adam's here to explain it.
Right, kiddies, close your eyes and open your brains. Well, actually, keep your eyes open because this television is going to take you on a little journey. Picture yourself as a droplet of water with a bunch of your friends heading down this 2.5-inch fire hose. Everything's going great. Then all of a sudden, you hit this transition. What is this? Oh, it's starting to have to do with the MythBusters. So, you and your friends are divided into 2 groups. This group, the left group. Let's go see what they're going on. Left group comes down the manifold and further gets divided into 5 other groups, each one going down a 25-foot garden hose. Those garden hoses lead to the platform where all 10 groups of water droplets, all of you and your friends, are rejoined coming out of these nozzles. And if everything goes well, you'll see this. But we're not exactly sure that's going to happen. There's likely to be problems.
And that's not just a prediction, it's a promise. Retired Fire Chief Bob Calloway runs out the hose and taps into the nearest hydrant. He's pumped, and so are the boys.
We are all plumbed up and ready to go. And what I'm hoping to discover here is information about the flight characteristics of the full-size car when we power it up.
So, Bob, we're all set and ready to go.
Okay, Jamie.
And you got your valve there, huh? So,
Right.
what's your signal for more or less?
More is this way.
Less is like
Less
that.
is this way.
Just like a crane, okay.
Right.
Well, I'm going to stand kind of safely off to the side watching the whole thing, and I'll give you your signal more or less, and we'll just kind of ramp on up.
Okay.
Remember the high-pitched squealing means shut everything down. The sound like, like that.
Will do.
Jamie declines a waterproof suit. That's because Adams volunteered to handle the hoses. Bob turns the tap, and there's no turning back. And before you can say, "Pump my ride," this little red car becomes a little red helicopter.
Dude, look at that! Yeah!
And in scale, that's about right. That's like, 20 feet off the ground?
It's totally, these things are pointed every which way, but because they're mostly down, it's really stable.
It seems precise water direction isn't crucial to keeping the car aloft. And that's what they came here to find out. Bolstered by an unshakable belief in his own brilliance, Adam decides to kick it up a notch.
That's maximum.
You know what I'm thinking?
What?
Is that when we go up to full size, see how just a little bit of guidance keeps
Yeah.
it dampened? So all we need are like 4 ropes.
Well, notice there's a guy on every hose in the video. And it doesn't take much. I mean, actually, I can guide it from right like here. Dude, this couldn't be better.
Well, actually, it could.
Whoa! Oh!
Direct hit to the mustache.
I was doing just fine staying dry.
It could not have gone better. We got liftoff, we got stability. It seems like as long as these things are pointed within 15 degrees of down, you get stability. This seems really, really possible.
So what do you guys think? Can we pull this off with a full-size car? Yeah, that's awesome.
I've seen this footage so many times, it just gets funnier.
Now, apparently they're fainting goats. I mean, this is a news story. But have you ever heard of any animal besides a human fainting?
No, and in fact, some of our fans think that this is just a hoax because this footage is so weird.
Well, you know, there's only one way to find out.
All right, let's go see for ourselves.
So Carrie and Tori hit the road to confirm or confound this possible fraud once and for all.
All right, we're at Renegade Ranch to see these fainting goats. I mean, I haven't seen one fall over yet. So I'm just kind of excited to get in there and try to freak them out and see if we can get them to fall over. I know that seems kind of cruel, but you know, science could be cruel sometimes.
I have seen this internet clip so many times because it cracks me up. Do goats actually faint?
Well, they do and they don't. They appear to faint, but they don't actually lose consciousness when they fall on the ground. It's a muscle condition called myotonia that affects their leg muscles, so when they get scared, sometimes even excited, their muscles are tightened up in their legs, and sometimes they'll actually fall over.
Yeah, but this still smells like a rural myth, meant to make us city folk look dumber than a fence post. But Tori's halfway convinced.
Apparently, shepherds breed these goats just for that gene, so that way they can put one of these goats into their flock of sheep, so when a real predator shows up, all the sheep take off and the goat is stuck there, paralyzed, so that the predator can eat it and not the sheep. Now, if that's not taking one for the team, I don't know what is. The sad thing is, it's not even his team. I mean, it's the sheep, you know?
Sounds like someone's going soft on these cute little guys. It won't last.
All right, Tori, your first step. What do you want to do?
I think for my first one, I'm just gonna see if I can get one of these goats to faint with no tricks. I mean, I haven't seen one of these fainted yet. Ooh. Oh, you...
It's a shameful start. The first one to faint is one of us. So while Tori regroups, Carrie gives it a whirl.
Okay, I figured something that'd be very freaky with a lot of flash would be an umbrella. So I'm gonna try to crouch down, wait till they're calm, and then pow.
That kapow sure worked on the virus video, so it should work now. But it doesn't.
They're laughing at us, Carrie. They mock us.
I don't think it's as easy as I thought it was gonna be.
Every failure to faint casts more doubt on this viral video. But Tori needs to prove that he's smarter than the livestock.
I'm thinking maybe I'm gonna lay down in that trough right there, cover me in hay.
Christina supplies the hay as Tori's wrapped and interred inside a straw sarcophagus.
Let them come up to the hay, eat for a little bit, and then I'll spring out and see if we can get one of these guys to faint.
5 long minutes later, Carrie calls in the strike.
All right, Tori, go now.
Not one?
Not one.
You kidding me?
Dude, that would scare the heck out of me. I can't tell you how frustrating this is. I mean, they're called fainting goats. We can't make a fainting goat faint. Seriously.
But enough bleating. Let's bring out the big guns.
Oh, these techniques don't seem to be working very well. I thought these goats were supposed to faint like that.
I got an idea. This one's for the boys.
The boys don't know it, but they're about to enjoy their first, and probably last, Bucks party.
All right, Carrie, these are the male goats. What's your technique?
You ready?
Yeah.
Tori falls to friendly fire, but once again, Carrie fails to stun or stiffen the target species.
Wasn't ready for that one, Carrie.
It's especially annoying because by now they know the goat video was no fraud. Behind the scenes, they're falling like flies.
You want to know what's frustrating me the most? Everybody seems to be able to get these goats to fall except Carrie and me. Camera guy walks by a goat, it falls over. The runner, he's making goats fall over. The farmer walks by and they're falling over.
Well, the breed is called the Tennessee fainting goat. So Carrie and Tori give themselves one last shot at the goat version of Operation Shock and Awe.
I think maybe we need to blend.
Should we use our secret weapon? Camouflage?
Camouflage.
Yeah. You ready?
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna drop them with this one. All right, Carrie, so this is the camouflage technique. Now the key is we need to blend in with the goats.
Okay, on your attack, we get up, chase them around and make them faint.
Let's do this.
Looking like rejects from a Wizard of Oz revival, Tori and Carrie stalk their prey.
I don't know about the goats, but I think the cow's getting kind of excited.
I'm one of you guys. What's going on, fellas? Ready, Carrie? Let's go! You got him. Totally worked.
Yeah, we got a few.
I got one over there.
It won't work every time on every goat, but we've seen enough to prove that this video virus is the real deal. They really can be scared stiff.
I am so convinced that this works. It actually doesn't take that much. You just have to know what you're doing, which we obviously don't most of the time. This myth is absolutely confirmed. These goats faint.
Producers of MythBusters wish to say that no goats were heard during filming, though several felt they were made to look stupid. Authorized and spoken by Robert Lee. So far, the boys have launched a model car on 10 tiny water jets, just to get a feel for the physics behind this hugely popular viral video. The pressure builds back at M5 as they start designing the full-scale version.
We don't need something as complex as that. We can have something like NPT pipe fittings to have attachment pipe fitting there, so your hose comes in here.
Yeah, I
and then a nipple.
Lower PSI.
Yeah, what do we gain and what do we lose?
They need to nail down the most effective mix of hose and pipe sizes, nozzle types, and water pressure. And it's not something the fire department can help them with.
They don't need to know this kind of thing normally. All they need to know is whether they can hold on to the hose well enough to put a fire out. And when you try and button them down to, exactly how many pounds of thrust in this configuration or that, they don't know, and it's not surprising. I mean, as usual, we're using tools and materials in ways for which they were never intended, and this is a classic.
So is this clear?
100%.
Clear as mud, huh?
Yeah.
They start by building a rig that should rate the pressure from one standard fire hose. You can sense Jamie's confidence by the courage he shows wearing shorts with a beret.
So, Bob, this is our rig that is going to tell us how much thrust we are going to get out of a single hose. And what I've got is the hose comes in here, the water goes down like that. We put barbell weights here, and we see how many barbell weights we can lift with the hose coming off that truck. What do you think?
I think it'll work.
The method is crude, but hopefully effective. If the water lifts the weight, 10 times the pressure from 10 hoses should lift the car.
I've got a very simple rig here, which I hope is bulletproof, and it's going to tell us what kind of thrust we're getting out of the fire truck. And we'll see exactly how much lift we get by how many barbell weights we were able to lift. Okay, Bob, we're good to go. We got 400 pounds on there. Let's fire it up.
Okay, here we go.
The water just barely raises the weights.
There we go!
So Jamie decides to narrow the valve and raise the pressure.
Now I'm going to put a reducer on there, which has a much smaller hole, and we'll start to dial in on whether we get any increased thrust from this. Hopefully, putting this reducer on this will make for an increased nozzle reaction. That's what they call it in the industry.
Bob pumps water through the truck as Jamie wills the weights to greater heights. But this test is headed straight down the drain.
I think we got a little bit more nozzle reaction that time. It was like a rocket. That was exciting. In fact, that was like
dangerous.
We did have to kind of like take a dive for the bushes there at one point. I didn't plan on the thing going completely over the top and dumping its weights and becoming a like missile on the end of a string. Well, it's very clear. A fire truck is able to lift at least 400 pounds. But I was hoping to make it lift 800 pounds, twice that much, so we didn't have to use as many fire trucks. But I can't test it because this thing is screwed, and I'm not going to be able to fix it today.
So Jamie still has no idea how many trucks he needs. Even if he did, it's midsummer, and spare hoses could be scarce as polar bears in Pleasanton.
Whoa! That looks seriously dangerous.
I like it. They're claiming to do this with only sawdust. Fans they're a little skeptical. They think it's either something way more flammable or it's CGI.
Well, in theory, it could work.
Yeah, even though they say they're not using any accelerant, if the powder's fine enough, you could get that result from just sawdust, compressed air, and an open flame.
Oh, we are gonna have to be so careful.
Yeah, Tori, careful.
I'm always careful.
That's carefree. You're carefree.
There really could have been any number of undeclared combustibles down that pipe. At least the guy seems quite forthcoming about how he put it together.
What we have here is the energy source. It's an old propane tank.
So, armed with the blueprints,
Valve. This is a high-speed flow valve.
on behalf of doubting viewers everywhere, we're gonna call his bluff and build it like he did.
Like all of the recycled junk that we try to turn into something amazing, this is not just a pipe. It's filled with all sorts of other metal work. So I'm gonna have to cut it up and cut everything out and make it right for us.
Step one is to pop the top on the tank. Sounds easy, but Carrie soon discovers these things are not meant to be tampered with.
Well, you didn't want it to come all off in one piece, did you?
Carrie finally breaks through, but there's much more work to do.
Inside now.
Tori's timely advice pretty much translates as, well, there's your problem.
Okay, so you're gonna have to cut out that whole section there.
Sure hope there's a lot more layers in here. That would be way easier than getting a pipe.
Yeah, it looks like there might be another layer.
Meantime, Grant works on a modified propane canister, just like the one in the video. The propane's been drained, and the tank's been adapted to hold compressed air. And a high-speed, high-flow valve should release all of that air in a short, sharp blast.
Air's gonna come in here from our compressor, and what happens is it normally goes in here and fills up the tank, and it's doing that all the time until the tank's full. This leads out to the cannon itself. When we push this button, it cuts off the flow coming in from the compressor and allows the tank air to go directly out to the cannon, and it deploys in less than a quarter of a second.
Heavy-duty pipes connect Grant's apparatus with Carrie's cleaned-out cannon, to which she's welded 4 steel struts. It's ready for a proof-of-concept blow test without the flame to see how high they can blast the sawdust. Still, we all know that Uncle Jamie likes them to take this kind of thing outside.
I've got a bag of hamster bedding. This is basically just sawdust. I'm gonna put it in the bottom of the cannon, let it off, and see what we're dealing with here. I think this will work out pretty well. It's light and fluffy.
1 bag of plain sawdust, hamster bedding, only partially fills the pipe. Grant hooks up to an air compressor, and once he's up to full pressure, he counts it down.
Approaching 100. All right, this is sawdust cannon test with a little bit of sawdust, 100 PSI, in 3, 2, 1.
That's good. That's just a little bit of sawdust. That went pretty good.
The problem is, it didn't go that high.
No.
10 feet in the air.
At the moment, it's not looking exactly like the height that we would expect to see based on what we saw in the video. But I think it's achievable. It's definitely achievable.
So, what to do? Grant thinks he'll get more punch with less hardware. He fits a shorter connecting pipe. Then Carrie trims an inch or 2 off the legs. This jumble of spare parts just might fulfill its potential. If so, they'll need some elbow room. And Scarface Balachi's already booked the bomb range.
Say hello to my little friend!
While preparations are made for a full-scale fire hose test, Adam and Jamie have time to check out another much-viewed, water-themed internet upload.
All right, here's the viral video we've got to investigate. Pipe with some gas. Nice forearms on this hand model. Nice tin. Oh, that is very cool. They call it invisible water. What do you think?
This one has all the hallmarks of a sideshow stunt. It's entirely possible that this was done with CGI on a green screen, or even just fishing line with clever lighting. But Jamie's got his own theory.
That's not invisible water. That's some kind of a super dense gas. There are all sorts of them out there.
We just gotta find out which one.
The prime suspect is sulfur hexafluoride. It's 5 times heavier than air.
I promise to show you something really cool as long as you promise not to try it at home, okay? Okay. Now, everyone wants to know why my voice sounds higher when I inhale helium.
The simple fact is that helium is 6 times less dense than air, which means sound waves travel through it much faster, which makes my voice sound much higher. Now, the same effect can be achieved in reverse if I inhale something like
sulfur hexafluoride, which is 6 times denser than air. I inhale some of that,
and my voice gets really low, although somehow I'm still funny. It's scientific!
On that low note, it's time to start the test and flush out this potential viral flim-flam.
Now that we've got the gas, I want to replicate exactly what I can see in the video. We've got a fish tank and we got tons of tin foil. I'm going to try and make a boat that floats on the invisible water. All right. Give me the business end. I can't see anything.
We'll have to take the full tank on faith, just because we can't see anything. Now, Adam turns boat builder.
All right. Replicating the circumstances. You ready?
Yep. It's a simple proposition. The boat either floats or it sinks. But Jamie can't see why this won't work. And here's the proof of concept.
There you go.
So that's where our level is.
Right, somewhere right about there. Let's just be clear. This balloon is filled with air, and it drops, unless it's in this fish tank, where it floats. Because the fish tank's full of gas that's heavier than air, I just can't get a boat to float in it as pretty as it does in the video.
One after another, these tinfoil Titanics are launched, then lost at sea. Though the boys do seem to be dialing in on the boat design.
Dude, that is so almost cool.
Here's hoping it's last time lucky.
Jamie?
It worked.
They've almost duplicated what they saw on the internet. Now Jamie has the honor of flooding the boat with invisible water.
Yeah, I can see it pouring out, man. That's so cool.
Jamie double dips, and that's all it takes to sink the cynicism surrounding this oddly transparent viral video.
It's going down.
Oh, down to the bottom of an invisible sea.
Well, like they say, whatever floats your boat. And in this case, it's sulfur hexafluoride. Because just like a boat on the water, when you put a boat on sulfur hexafluoride, because it's heavier than air, the boat floats.
Even though it was a gas, the myth of invisible water turned out to be true. But that's not true of every viral video. And to show how easy it is to post a fake experiment, we put this clip on YouTube around the time we filmed this show. Adam unscrambles a Rubik's Cube with his feet, while Jamie does it blindfolded. It looks convincing as they both solve the puzzle, and this was watched by tens of thousands of people.
You want to know how it's done? Because while it looks like we started with one of these and ended up with one of these, in fact, the reverse is true. We started with the solved cube and mixed it up and just ran the footage backwards. For a little added realism, if you look carefully, you'll see our researcher John Hunt walking through the frame. In fact, he was walking backwards.
So remember, don't believe everything you see on the internet.
Carrie, Tori, and Grant have trucked their homemade cannon out to the bomb range to see if they can exactly replicate this amazing viral video with nothing more than sawdust, air, and a flare.
Now, we've seen a lot of really cool viral videos on the internet, but not all of them are 100% the truth. There's a lot of computer graphics. So for this to be confirmed, we need to be able to replicate that giant tower of fire that we saw on the internet video.
So this orange line right here is connected to the air compressor, and that is the source of air for the whole cannon. And hopefully, that'll be enough to create a huge sawdust plume.
Their one and only test was
1!
underwhelming.
That went pretty good.
And even though they've upsized the pipes, this time the cannon needs to blast a lot more sawdust. Maybe booking the bomb range was a tad optimistic, though Tori will be playing with fire.
The plan is I'm gonna light the flare, I'm gonna stick it into the top of the barrel in the pile of sawdust like a birthday candle. I'm gonna run back, Grant's gonna pull the string, and we're gonna launch that sawdust into the air, and hopefully we'll get a giant tower of fire.
Perfect.
And then hopefully we'll all go, are we missing our eyebrows?
Am I missing an eyebrow?
The pressure inside the ex-propane tank rises to 120 psi.
Okay, perfect. Good to go.
Tori lights, then inserts the road flare.
All right.
But will this really be enough to make a pipe full of common sawdust go boom? Hang on to your hamsters.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
For just a heartbeat, it seemed they wouldn't get the fireball. But good things do come to those who wait.
That was so cool!
Nice.
Confirmed.
Oh my God, that was the coolest thing I've ever seen.
3.
It didn't look like it was gonna ignite, and then all of a sudden, boom! It went up. It was beautiful.
And it's not just the flame and the size of the flame, but the sound.
Whoa.
It was amazing.
And Carrie thought it was even better than the video.
The sawdust went up with the flare, a mushroom cloud formed, and then the fire fell, and then you could see the flare falling to the ground. It was way cooler.
Challenge accepted, potential hoax, unhoaxed, and time to up the ante.
So we made our cannon to the specs of the video, and it worked. Now it's time we ramp it up, and we make a giant cannon and see how big we can make the fire!
Aside from the upscaled hardware, they plan to fool around with alternate ammunition. In one of those don't try this at home moments, Carrie tests the explosive potential of other fine-grained substances, like ordinary kitchen flour.
That was good.
Too true, but it gets even better.
Next, we're trying non-dairy creamer, because I hear that's really flammable, and I want to see if that's going to make the biggest fireball of all.
Non-dairy creamer. Millions would agree that going up in flames could be its finest moment.
Non-dairy creamer, flame burns to my hand and into the cup. It's so flammable that there is a backdraft.
So with the promise of a much bigger cannon and a deadly dose of mock milk powder, it looks like the sky's the limit.
Now I want to ramp it up!
Adam and Jamie are testing the authenticity of this internet video by trying it themselves. The car could be a lightweight fake, not to mention the frame it's sitting on. But Adam's rack is all that and more.
This right here is one of the water jets of my completed water jet car lifting platform. I've got 10 of these babies on it. Starts out with a fire hose coupler right here, goes to normal NPT schedule 40, 45, and 90, out to a bowel reducer, and a water jet will be squirting out here.
It's a slick piece of plumbing, and every bit as heavy as it looks.
This right here weighs about maybe 400 or 500 pounds, and that means that the whole thing is going to be quite heavy. We're going to have to be able to lift maybe around 4,000 pounds if we get that car off the ground.
But Adam's problems are more immediate.
Turns out my rig's too big to fit in any vehicle we own or can rent. So, having just completed it, I've got to cut it in half.
2 steps forward and 1 back. They'll have to weld the halves together again on site. It's a frustrating start to a day they hope will end bathed in glory.
All right, looks like we're good to go.
Let's get this show on the road.
Every spare fire truck rolls up to the test site. But it's the second setback of the morning. They've only mustered 6 of the hoped-for 10. Still, there's no lack of manpower.
This is many hands make light work. All right, all we want to do is lift this car over this bar this way.
2 guys on each wheel.
That was beautiful.
Adam and Jamie strap down the car with the world's biggest seat belts.
I just had one of those moments. Can't believe we're doing this.
Now to hand things over to the professionals.
Well, it went so smoothly, I'm a little nervous, but yeah, I can't think of anything else we can do except hook it up.
The boys have burst a valve to maximize their chances. In the wash-up, it all depends on how much water they can pump from these few hydrants, pressurized by just 6 trucks.
I'm a little nervous about it because we've only got 6 trucks. The math says we should be able to do it just, but will we?
I'll give you a prediction. I think we're going to get the liftoff. Whether it's a nice high liftoff or whether it's a gentle or catastrophic landing, I don't know. But I think we're going to get airborne or waterborne.
We've already proved that this video sawdust fireball is no hoax. We did it even better than they did and got a smoke ring to boot. Now we'd like to turn it up a notch with non-dairy creamer and a much bigger cannon.
So we've come to machinery and equipment, which is basically a graveyard of industrial parts and machines.
I don't think this one's gonna work. It's just too big.
I'm pretty sure we're gonna find something here.
Oh, that is perfect. All we need to do is lose this, and I love how it's got a cone shape. That way when we blast our air, all our sawdust is gonna come out of the cannon.
So we can maximize our tower of fire. He's a great hopper. Can we name it Dennis?
It's so hard to find a name both you and the missus can live with.
Comedy gold!
But they've got exactly what they came for.
This is perfect. All I need to do is add an extension, make some adjustments, and put it on a stand.
Back at base, Tori plans to accessorize the big blue hopper with a bigger yellow barrel.
What I have here is a 55-gallon drum, and I'm gonna use this to extend my funnels. But what I need to do first is cut the bottom.
No sooner said than done. Then Tori welds the drum tight to the hopper. They'll also need to use much bigger connecting pipes.
That looks pretty good.
And let's not forget to pack the combustibles.
How big a cup of coffee do you think you need for 3,000 pounds of non-dairy creamer? We are loading this into the truck, taking it up to the bomb range, and then putting it into our giant cannon to make a tower of flames.
Out on the range, the first challenge is finding a safe, smart way to fill the barrel.
What could possibly go wrong?
I can't see anything going wrong.
But 1,500 pounds of coffee creamer and a light breeze conspire against them.
Hey, how full is it?
It's kind of hard to tell.
According to my calculations, half that should fill this drum.
This accident waiting to happen doesn't.
Yeah, I agree.
We're good.
I agree.
All right, it's full. Back the creamer out.
This time, the propulsion comes from Jamie's tried and tested air cannon rig. This was the powerhouse used to blast a cannonball, a baseball, and recently, raw steak.
There's your problem.
And the creamer cannon is bigger in every way. Then again, it has to lift 700 pounds of powder. So, what's going to happen?
First of all, we know that the non-dairy creamer is much more reactive in air than the sawdust. Second, the orifice size is much larger on the non-dairy creamer cannon, 36 times the force. And on top of that, 20 times the air capacity.
If everything goes right, and that stuff goes up in the air, and it actually ignites, we could set this whole hillside on fire.
I'm either expecting to see a much bigger mushroom cloud of fire, or because it's heavier, we're gonna see bloop, and it's gonna catch on fire, and then we're gonna stand there and watch it burn out. Hopefully, choice A.
Grant slowly builds the air pressure to 120.
Good to go.
Then Tori sets the spark. The mass of the creamer in relation to the volume of air is crucial. This could either be a blast or a burn.
All right, fire this puppy up. All right, here we go. Non-dairy creamer cannon in 3, 2, 1. That was frightening!
Terrifying!
Did you get that on high speed?
Yeah, we did remember to push the on button on the off chance that this might be one of the biggest fireballs ever.
This was frightening. I mean, seriously, there was a moment where I'm like, oh, crap. This was a bad idea.
When you set off an explosion, you go click, boom. When you fire one of these cannons, you go click, and like, whoosh. It's not working. Oh my God, it's up!
All I heard in my head was, run. And I started up the hill as fast as I could go. And I'm still on a little bit of adrenaline buzz right now.
Flaming milk substitute floats down like snow from hell, and the crust at ground zero tells the tale.
Dude, you gotta feel this. It's like the top of a creme brulee.
Oh my God.
I think you need a new camera.
Should we take that off? Is it still rolling? Oh, look at that.
Oh, whoa!
Whoa, it saved it!
Hey! Hey! You don't need a new lens!
This viral video is twice confirmed with a flame the governor must have seen from Sacramento. But it's not a recommended science project.
Oh my God! We should destroy this because it's too dangerous to have in our shop. This technology should not be shared with anyone.
And just in case you missed the message,
I hope I don't need to tell you this, but don't try this at home.
We still have like 500 pounds of this stuff. Should we try it again?
Maybe after I get some new underwear.
Welcome back. Here's where we stand. We had a video of some fire trucks using only the power of their hose pressure to lift a car. We figured out that one hose can easily lift over 400 pounds.
There we go!
We also made a scale model of this rig and figured out that this was actually pretty stable. Now we put it all together. We built a full-size car, a full-size rack of hoses, and we're about to try it for real.
nice update. Now let's see if a full-size, full-weight car really can take flight.
Dude, I can't believe it.
6 diesel engines kind of rumbling. The tension is mounting.
Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
I'm gonna get in position.
Test number 1 starts with a standard hydrant pressure of 80 psi, which Jamie steadily raises 10 psi at a time.
All right, all pumps up 10 psi. All pumps up 10 more psi.
The car's not flying,
All pumps up 10 more psi.
and the water's a-wasted. So Jamie shuts her down.
All pumps down, completely down.
Okay, we're exceeding the amount of water flow for the system.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, what if we remove a couple of the hoses, or just, don't power up with 2 of the hoses?
Okay, why don't we try that? Maybe we'll get the lift still that we need.
Because we need that pressure.
Right, we need the pressure.
With a fixed water supply, cutting 2 hoses will raise the pressure in the remaining 8. It's a question of finding the perfect balance.
Removing a couple of the nozzles, that'll give us hopefully more pressure, less volume, and not put such a demand on the system. And we're also going to make it happen really quickly.
They'll start this test at 100 psi, then lift the pressure bit by bit.
10 more psi.
Once again, they fail to raise the roof or even lift the tires.
What's happening is that we're not getting liftoff.
Okay, all engines down.
What seems to be the reason is we are exceeding the amount of water that the entire city's water system can produce in this location at a specific time.
In test after test,
All pumps 1, 2, 0.
Jamie raises the starting pressure.
All engines 170. Okay, down. Off.
Repositions the nozzles.
All engines 120. All engines down.
And cuts the number of hoses.
Now we're running on 6 hoses. We have an even balance of hoses in the 4 corners and 2 in the middle. Hopefully that'll be enough.
But it's not. Try as they might, the hatchback shows no tendency to hover. But Adam might have the answer.
Now see, the problem is we've got an engine. That's why we're not getting any movement.
Well, let's get the engine out.
All right, let's do it.
In the video, you can't tell what's inside the car and what's not. As far as we know, we're doing what they did.
There it comes.
There's nothing in the video we saw that said that car had an engine. And we got to get liftoff before the end of the day. So we're lightening our load by a few hundred pounds.
Daylight's fading, and this next test is pretty much make or break.
This one's going to work. I hope.
Up on 6.
With 6 engines, 6 hoses,
Come on, baby!
Up, up, up.
and no motor, the car finally takes flight.
Up on 3. Up on 3. Up on 3.
And isn't this a thing of beauty? 15 feet high for a full 45 seconds.
Okay, down, cut it. Oh, yeah! Nice landing! The new rocket cars start up a little rough, but once they're airborne, they're beautiful.
It worked. I didn't actually think it was going to happen, but it did. Looked just like the video.
We got it. And I gotta say, it was beautiful. It was a moment I didn't want to end.
I'd say we've confirmed this one.
Confirmed it is. It was cool, though.
It looked so unlikely, but these guys, whoever they are, seem to know their business. The video is verified.
You know, of course, this makes me want to make a backpack.
Of course it does. Or maybe like a hoverboard. This whole internet thing is actually pretty nifty.
I thought that you'd like it.
It's almost as good as the telephone. And you know, I actually had a lot of fun on these viral videos.
So did I. You know, I was most impressed that everything we all tested turned out to be plausible or confirmed. Honestly, I can't remember the last time that happened.
There's plenty more where that came from.
Oh yeah, I smell a sequel.